Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Jemecia Capri, the nurse practitioner extraordinaire. And if you're new to my channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. Yes, I'm excited to bring you this information today. I don't know if you've been wondering about it, but I actually wondered about it when I was first beginning to start looking for jobs as a nurse practitioner. As a new nurse practitioner, I was not prepared as to what questions or what I would ask on an interview for my first job. So if you're interested, stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back. I wanted to give you some information about what types of questions that you should ask or what should be in your package for your first job as a nurse practitioner or any job, and the types of questions that you should be asking of the job that you're seeking. So the first question that I wanted to come to you and talk to you about is when I first began, I didn't realize that they could give me as many patients as they wanted. Now, if I had a little bit more information about how many patients that the clinic may take for the day or how many they were expecting me to take, I would have asked that question. So be sure that you are very clear on how many patients that you will be expected to take, how long your slots are, and how efficient they want you to be. So the next question, I guess, would be not just how many patients you're expected to take or what your time slots are, but it would be how long your orientation will be. That's important because you need to know how long you're going to be in orientation and how long they're going to give you to become acclimated to the clinic. And I suspect that it should be anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. 6 weeks would be great, but do know that you are entitled to an orientation, and please ask for an orientation, okay? And not for 2 to 3 days. Now, I was on one of my first jobs, I was expected to get an orientation for 6 weeks, and that's what they told me was gonna happen. And that didn't happen. The girl who was giving me the orientation was like, look, I'm moving on to another job and I hope you have this. And I was like, I do. I didn't, but I did. So just try to make sure that you have that set in stone, and sometimes know that things will happen as it did happen with me, but expect that it should be at least 4 to 6 weeks. Also, find out if you are signing on to a non-compete clause. That's another thing that a lot of times your employer will put into your contract, where they don't want you to get a job in the area, or they don't want you to have a part-time job in the area, and you don't want a non-compete clause. You do not want that. You want to make sure that you can work wherever you want to, and that this is a job where if you decide to leave, you decide to leave. If they decide to fire you, you get fired, and that you have that agreement and you have that understanding. For some people, they just know they're gonna love their job, they're gonna stay there, they don't care about the non-compete clause, and they go for it. So that's something that you should also know about. Another thing, another question that you should be concerned about during orientation is, do you have paid time off? Will you be compensated for any type of sick leave or anything like that, or maternity leave? That should be, if you're a female, that should be something that you try to get as part of your onboarding contract. So don't forget about that. Also, another question that I should have asked that I think that would be very important for you to ask is, how involved is your collaborating going to be? Because I remember on my very first job, I had 3 collaborating physicians. I was in Ohio, and I was the hospitalist for a nursing home. And I had 3 collaborating physicians, but when I tell you, it was so hard to reach them. And honestly, I didn't meet all of them. I was on that job for probably 1.5 years, and I never physically met like 2 of my collaborating I did talk to them on the phone, but I feel like you need to have some type of relationship, a little bit, you know, some type of relationship with your collaborators. So you need to know, I would ask, am I gonna have any type of orientation with the collaborators? Will I meet the collaborators? How closely will we actually work together? And that's something that I didn't know, that I didn't even think about. I was just like, give me this job, I need this job. Come on y'all, give me this job. So I was so gung-ho about getting the job, I didn't think about the liability of not having that collaborator at my fingertips, honestly. So that's something that you learn as you go, but if you have that information up front, that would be very helpful. At least have a personal cell phone number or something where you can call them. But at the time, the collaborators that I was working with, they wanted me to do everything. They were very hands-off, and I was baptized by fire. And I don't suggest anybody be baptized by fire. I think you can handle it, but I don't suggest it. Another thing that you should ask during your interview is, if you're with an internal medicine practice, are you going to be required to do any type of hospital rounds, or part of your contract says that, okay, your schedule is Monday through Thursday, but on Friday mornings between 9 and 12, you're gonna do hospital rounds. That's something that you need to know up front as well. And fortunately, I was able to get a job like that where I did do hospital rounds. And on certain days, like Tuesdays and Fridays, we did hospital rounds. And I feel like that really did prepare me for a lot of things that I would not have gotten. But honestly, guys, I was scared out of my mind. I was scared to do hospital rounds because I just didn't feel like I was up to it. Even though, anyway, I was able to get through it, but I did not know that was part of what my job was gonna be. And I got through it, and I learned a lot. And I don't know if I would even trade it, but I'm telling you that this is something that you should consider asking about, just in case, just in case. A lot of primary care jobs will, if it's truly primary care, they most likely will not. But if it's internal medicine, there's a chance that they would like for you to do some type of hospital rounds. So that is very important that you know that if you're going to do that, ask for orientation. Please, please, please don't get up there on that floor and those nurses looking at you like you are absolutely crazy. So please make sure you know that. Also, if you are with an internal medicine group or even primary care, just find out if there's any call requirements, if you're going to be on call, and when does that happen? If you're gonna be on call, will you do call after your orientation, or will you be expected to do some type of orientation call? When I first got on call, I did do an orientation with a nurse practitioner. So when she got a call, she would connect me to the call and we would do the call together. So I would kind of like shadow her through the call. So I had an idea of how she handled the call. If there was anything that was an admission or a major emergency or a death, we did have to go in, but other stuff we handled over the phone or through telephone call or through telemedicine at that time. So that's also something that you need to know about and ask about. And if there is call, will there be any additional compensation? For my first job, there was no additional compensation, and I was on call 24 hours a day. So that's something also that you want to consider. Now, I understand, guys, that you want that first job. You want to make sure you get a job. But these are things that you are entitled to ask about and you are entitled to get. So that's important. Another thing you want to ask about is paid CEs or any type of paid conferences. Is that in the package, as well as malpractice insurance? So be sure that you ask about that. That is a big part of your journey in your life as a nurse practitioner. You have to have CEs, you have to go to conferences, and you need malpractice insurance. So that's another thing. And so also you want to know, will you have an assistant? Will you have a nurse, LPN, MA, or someone like that who works on your team? Will they do vitals for you? Will they do your blood draws for you? Or will you be doing all that on your own? Now, luckily, I was able to get a nurse that worked with me, as well as an LPN, to help me with all of that on my very first job. But my job, a couple jobs after that, I did not have an MA or a nurse that assisted me. So that's something that you want to also, know when you get that first job. So that's something too. So final question that you need to be asking or discussing or written in your contract is the pay, the compensation. What do they consider pay? What do they consider compensation? Will you be held to, will you be held to RUVs, the amount of patients that you see per day? Will you get bonuses? Will you just be on salary? Will you have an hourly? Will you get paid overtime? Will you get paid call? All of these things you must ask about. And even though it may feel uncomfortable, because it will be your first job, so exciting, but you have to ask. You have to ask about compensation because you're worth it, your skills are worth it, and that's just what it is. And they know this, but don't be afraid to ask. And make sure you do your research to know what the average pay is in your local area. Of course, North Carolina won't be the same as New York, or it won't be the same as LA. So just know what the compensation is in your area and know what you're worth. Okay, guys, I hope this was helpful. Please leave some comments in the comments below. Please hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and thank you so much for stopping by. Guys, take care.